express the views and opinions of the guest, the host, and the director.
All right. Let me see if I can get this prayer warrior on the line.
While we do that, we want to send our condolences out to the Solomon and
Good morning.
Gallion family this morning.
Good
Good
morning.
morning.
As you know, two victims
How are you?
Oh, hold on 1 second.
of gun violence this past weekend. Well, one Monday and the other one this past Saturday, Sunday. One of those days, I believe. But we got to send our condolences out to those two, to the family of those two individuals, the Solomon family and the Gallion family. Also, we know that there's some others around the state. So everyone that's suffering from a loss of a loved one from the gun violences, the officer involved violence, we want to send our condolences out to all of you and wish you get through this hard and trying time. And Mr. Wallace.
Okay. Good morning, prayer warrior.
Well, good morning to you guys.
How
Good
you
morning.
doing this morning?
I'm doing wonderful. Wonderfully blessed. I am happy.
All right. Blessed and highly favored.
Yes, sir.
That's
I
why
happy.
that's why we call you uplift our spirit and spark our spirit and the things that goes along with it.
That's what I'm saying. I have the delicious word ready. It says, sit quietly in my presence while I bless you. Make your mind like a pool of water, ready to receive whatever thoughts I drop into it. As you consider the challenges this day presents, do not wear yourself out by worrying about whether you can cope with the pressures. Keep looking at me and communicating with me as we walk through this day together. Take time to rest by the wayside, for I am not in a hurry. A leisurely pace accomplishes more than hurried striving. When you rush, you forget who you are and whose you are. Remember that you are royalty in my kingdom.
Wow.
That can be found in Psalms 37 and 7, Romans 8:16 to 17, and Peter 2 to 4.
All right, all right. Now, you
Yes.
sparked our spirit up, and
Absolutely.
we're gonna allow you to finish your day with love.
Absolutely. Blessings, guys.
Thank you for that beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, sweetie. Bye.
All right.
And before we get our guests on for the topic of the morning, just want to talk a little national. It's sad in the United States here the kind of delegation we have in this country. As we know, last week two House reps in Tennessee was expelled from their seats for protesting because they had a protester of group of people outside crying and begging the delegation out there to do something or have a debate or conversation on resolving the issue with gun violence. And they was expelled from their house seats, and it's a sad day here in here in Louisiana. They won't touch the topic, and even nationally, even the U.S. Senate, U.S. representatives don't want to break bans on the topic, and I can't see who needs a high tech or high powered equipment. Artillery. I can't see who needs more than 15 bullets or ammunition to protect yourself.
So, you know what they said, I was told that assault weapon was banned. How in the hell is assault weapon gonna be banned? And you could get them online, you could get them all kind of ways. Brother Jay, step up in front of the camera and let's introduce the beautiful T-shirt that he does. It said Black Power, Black Political Power Matter. You know, and if y'all want a shirt like that, they got the two black guys that they expelled from Congress.
From
from
the Tennessee State Legislature, Justin and Justin. From our name Justin.
Justin Jones and Justin Pearson, and also they had Gloria Johnson. She was up for expulsion too, but
they kept her.
They decided to keep let her have a seat.
I'm going with
it was because of her
race.
Her race, her age.
That's where I'm going with it. Race.
So, anybody need a shirt like this here? Let Brother Jay know. You could call into the show, or you could call in on the Open Line show, Tech Talk on Saturday at 88.3.
And by the way, Brother Ross, I need my assault weapon to catch them rabbits on the side of the road in Louisiana.
Okay. But anyway,
I won't have no rabbit left though after that.
But anyway, let's get our guest on the phone and let her talk about what she's one that was fighting for the crossing on the thruway because people was getting killed crossing the thruway. So let's get her on the phone and see what she's talking about.
Hello.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
How's everything going this morning?
Has gone great. Blessed and highly favored.
Oh, that's what I said. You know, I don't know if you heard the prayer at the opening of the show, but right now I got my co-host and the producer in here, Keith Falk and Brother Jay, and Larika. The reason why we appreciate you being on the show, you know.
Thank you.
Because you done did a lot. You know, you done did a lot for the car crossing to get people safety and things like this here. And we are asking you to give us an update basically on what's going on with that.
Well, lately I actually started a petition. I'm hoping to get at least 500 signatures at a minimum because I feel like more the merrier. My main objective right now is to get the pedestrian beg button replaced on the corner of Evangeline Thruway and Willow. A pedestrian beg button is that pole with the button on it where people who want the right of way to cross press the button for that hand signal to be displayed when it's safe to cross. So pedestrians that are crossing on the corner of Willow and Evangeline Thruway would not get that signage or that hand because the pole is missing. That entire pole has been missing for several months now. And then after that, I also would like to mention, in addition to that petition, I also was aware of another pedestrian fatality that occurred about 3 days ago on Johnson Street. And the eyewitness stated the injuries appeared to be fatal. And the person was struck near the bus stop that is located at the intersection by CVS and Classic Spa Car Wash near the Bertrand intersection. And that happened about 3 days ago. There was no media coverage around that incident, and there are several pedestrian incidents that have occurred that have not gained any media attention. I witnessed a pedestrian being struck on the corner of Colley Saloon and Pinhook
myself, I posted footage of it. Not everything, because it was a bit graphic, but I was at the scene of a pedestrian incident, and no media coverage was around it. So one thing I would like to do is to get our local news stations to start reporting on more pedestrian-related incidents, because we have an average of 2 pedestrians a week, and there's not enough attention around it. They tend to broadcast drug-related offenses frequently on the news, but there's not much coverage on pedestrian incidents. And one I would like to wrap up with is the one that happened on Moss Street. Moss Street is located in the underserved community. I have read several reports and studies, and those who live in an underserved community are 3 to 4 times more likely to be a victim of a pedestrian-related incident. And the reason for it is not because people who live in these communities don't know how to use the roads. No, it's the way these roads are being designed and funded and maintained. They tend to prioritize those that live in a more affluent community. They tend to have better pedestrian infrastructure. Despite the census data that was just released, showed people in the 70501 zip code have a higher level of households that lack reliable transportation compared to other zip codes in Lafayette Parish. So if our local officials want to fund projects and other related things to further improve pedestrian infrastructure, they should start looking at those in the high-risk categories, such as the 70501, because they have more people walking and using sidewalks because they lack reliable transportation.
Well, it's just like in the 70501 area code, more people use bikes, not just people walking and then got hit people on bikes, A lot of times those push button crosswalk, it don't give you enough time to really get across the street.
Exactly.
I have a question.
In certain areas they have 25 seconds or longer, but on Evangeline Thruway, it's like 15 seconds. We need 1 mile to cross on these busy roadways and whatever. And today, speaking of Evangeline Thruway, this morning I have pictures I posted online. Someone put FUCK Joe Biden on a VMS board system, which is it's one of those systems that have the words that drivers read while on the roadway. They usually have it near construction zones or whatever, but it's mounted on a trailer, and it has words on it for motorists to read. And on that device, they had FUCK Joe Biden. That's very vocal, and my concern with that is that device is essential because they use that to communicate urgent messages to motorists, and for them to take it upon themselves to post their political views on that device, they need to be held accountable because regardless of your views, your political views should not go AdWorks for Department of Transportation, because this is not a residential roadway. This is Evangeline Thruway. This is state highway, and so for them to do that, I assume that employee had to be with DOTD, and so now the sign has been removed, but it was still there this morning, and they need to find out who put those words on that device because they need to be held accountable.
Yes.
I think Brother G got a question.
Brother J have a question for you.
Good morning, Ms. Ross, and I definitely appreciate you being an advocate for that issue. When I began doing talk shows a couple of years ago at 88.3 FM, I questioned one of the, political elected officials about that, and the concern even back then was, a couple of years ago, was the pedestrian situation in the city of Lafayette, especially around Evangeline Thruway, where people who have to access goods and services who live in those neighborhoods are being put in danger. Now the thing with this, a lot of the politicians pass the buck, and they keep saying, well, that's a federal road, Evangeline Thruway, and they want to put it all on the federal government, but it runs through the city. Now the comment and the question to you is, isn't it the way they trying to grow Lafayette? It's like, is Lafayette one of the fastest growing areas in the South, if you want to say, in a sense? And look, it's like they have no interest in growing the city properly, where you're going to have to take into account pedestrian safety. And I think it's the political people fault, and I think it's more of the community is not interested on the level you and people like ourselves are interested in. So I'd like to get your comment and feedback on that.
Well, that's really great. So one, I have, as you all may know, I was in the military and I was active duty. So I was stationed in different cities across the U.S. And because of it, I had a different view on how they ran their cities and the infrastructure available there. So when I returned to Louisiana, I was able to see the difference, how other cities across the U.S. are growing and how the city Lafayette that I'm in is not growing in the way it should be growing. And one of the issues I would like to point out, yes, we're growing, but it's not as a whole, it's not as a collective. We're focusing on one area, and the north side is one of those areas that's not being looked at like it should be looked at. And I would like to say this, because of the economic development, I want people to know that pedestrian infrastructure, well, the lack of also affect businesses, because if you have a community where majority of the residents commute via foot, then if they can't access the local stores safely, how are they supposed to get there? How is it supposed to grow? And not only that, if we want to grow as a whole, we need to look at our pedestrian infrastructure, because that, if we can identify that barrier, then we can also grow everyone, our businesses in our community, and making it safer for everyone to commute. Because one of the issues I notice myself is whenever you go into areas that are heavily populated, you see the pedestrian infrastructure, well, should be better. And when you look in bigger cities, they tend to grow not only their local economy, but if they focus on pedestrian infrastructure, we can all grow as a whole. So I want people to realize it's not just about pedestrians, it's also about how are we going to grow our community. And if we focus on the entire community and starting from the bottom, which is those who have to rely on foot and bicycle to get to point A and point B. For one, that is a basic mode of transportation. And if it's not accessible for them, then Lafayette is not accessible for all. And I want people to bear in mind, this issue affects people on the south side as well. However, those on the north side are facing this issue is disproportionately affected, because like I said, the way these sidewalks are funded, the way it's being maintained, the right of way, the curb cuts. Also, if you look at, like I said, the pedestrian bag button that's been missing, it's no reason for that button to be missing for an excessive amount of time. They should have something in place that, such I mentioned solutions before, which is an automatic pedestrian bag button, where even if they can't replace the pole, it's automatically in the light cycle to give pedestrians the right of way. So that's not going to cost the city anything. So they're looking for cost-effective solutions to fix the problems where there's many. But for them not to do anything, to me, is negligent. They can do that. They can put up a radar speed trailer for drivers to be aware of their speed. That costs hardly anything, because why? We already have it in the warehouse. Only would deploy it. So I feel like them not doing anything reflection on them and the leadership as a whole, because I have watched news articles, I have read what they have put out, and it's always, oh no, it's the state, it's DOTD, and then the DOTD say, oh, the local has some blame. Look at Cornwall Drive. Money was allocated for sidewalks on Cornwall Drive back in 2018. That was in 2018, December of 2018. A year later, in 2019, and I think it was like November or so of 2019, money was allocated for. You don't even see sidewalks.
They haven't even broke ground for it, huh?
Yep, but the one for Ambassador Caffrey allocated in 2019, that project hasn't even been completed.
Well, you know, Marika, I look at it like this here. We got people in office that they got this district, you know, and with the district that they have, they can't get Moss Street resurfaced, all those potholes, lumps and bumps fixed, you know. They talk about it, but they won't do nothing about it. And I feel like you the same way. You representing a district, you know. I don't care if it's a state highway or what. You know, you need to go to the state or whoever's in charge to get that done. Get it done. You're in office. We put you in office. What we put you in office for? Not to go sit down in the chair and look good. You know, we put you in office to get something done.
Yep, and then our elected officials have some blame.
Yes, ma'am.
Them not advocating like they should about this issue, it furthers the problem because they have more power than they realize.
Yes. You know, we as a community of people, we speaks up, you know, we go to the places that need to go, we need to go, and we try to get things done and make sure it's happening, you know, because I was very proud of you when you went to the library and you spoke up at the library. You went to the council meeting and you spoke up at the council meeting. And yeah, a lot of times people say she get too excited. Well, sometimes that's the only way people understand what you're saying is by getting excited and voice your opinion. It might not be the way they want you to voice it, but you still get a chance to voice your opinion. And that's what I respect about you.
Thank you.
You know?
And I think too, what people fail to realize is in order to bring about change, people have to be uncomfortable. Because if everyone is comfortable with the way things are happening, it's not going to motivate people to change anything. And I believe in my heart, people need to be uncomfortable because people are dying. These are lives being lost and not enough attention is being made. And so I have been doing everything I possibly can to bring awareness to the lack of adequate pedestrian infrastructure for your connecting bus stop to go to your next location. So people are spending hours and hours just commuting by a city bus, and it shouldn't even be like that. But unfortunately, it is. And my problem is half of these bus stops also are not located in safe locations. I have pictures and videos. I even went to the city council to talk about some of these bus stops are located in the ditch. When I say in the ditch, it's located in a ditch. And that's unacceptable. We need to find out why the gross negligence of our city and our transportation department. For one, how could they think that's safe? And not only that, a bus stop located in a ditch is not accessible, because if you need a motorized device or a scooter or even a walker, you can't stand at that bus stop if it's located in a ditch.
Yeah.
Half of them are also located near a road without a sidewalk. So it's literally on the side of a street, and they basically have to stand in the street because there's no sidewalk and there's no shoulder on the road. That's not safe. So you're putting these pedestrians in compromising situations, and people are not speaking up on it. And I believe more needs to be done. And the lives that are being lost, if I was an attorney, I would have sued the city by now because it's negligent. Because if you are aware of a problem for many years and you're not doing anything, at some point you have to look at yourself because we are averaging 2 pedestrians. Louisiana, and Lafayette in particular, is one of the worst cities for pedestrian infrastructure.
Especially north side.
Yep.
Especially the north side. You know, I see guys on scooters, you know, well, I guess you could call them scooters, you know, that handicap scooters in the center of the road because no sidewalk. You know, we always talk what we're gonna do, but we never talk about doing it, you know?
Yep. I totally agree. And I also would like to point out, when I talk about these issues, I like to always look for solutions. I have been studying, I even did some training, and I'm trying to find out what are the best solutions for some of these issues, because I want people to think not every solution can be applied to every situation, because some situations the solution might look like, oh, that's the best solution, until you dig further and then you realize, oh, we can't apply it across the board, because they think if we address speed, then it's going to be better. No, there's more to it than just putting up a new speed limit sign. Mm-hmm. We need to do something to hold these drivers accountable, which is speed bumps, which is also having law enforcement to crack down on speeding, because if they're not implementing things that is going to hold drivers accountable, then there's nothing stopping the drivers for just speeding and having a blatant disregard for human life that is commuting on a bicycle or a foot. So I want our local officials to take that into consideration, because they quick to talk about let's crack down on drugs and this and that in certain communities. Well, let's look at speeding as something, because we have people dying, and like I said, different problems call for different solutions. So they need to do better at studies, having a variety of traffic studies at these intersections, because I wouldn't be shocked if they're not compliant, because some of these intersections are not ADA accessible. Even though they have curb cuts, some of them are broken down. Weeds going through those. I'm sure you saw sidewalks, Mr. Wallace. Mm-hmm. What is it all broken and stuff going through it? Tree
roots are going through.
And while we talking about pedestrian infrastructure, for the past 10, 15 years, activists and even some elected officials have talked about putting a rail walk in the Evangeline Thruway area, and that never got done. But it's funding set aside to build with the
I-49 connector, which is over $1 billion now. And yes, you are right. And so they can find funds for things they want. We saw what happened with the jail. They created a public-private partnership so they can have funds for a jail. So they can find funds for things they want. But when it comes to things like this, it's always we don't have funding. Federal funding available for pedestrian infrastructure that was just recently passed. So they want to actually bring about these changes that are necessary in these underserved communities for better pedestrian infrastructure. There's grants available, there's funds available if they truly look for it, and then they don't really have to look hard. Like I said, some funds were just passed and approved, and that I-49 connector in itself, I attended a meeting, and it was with DOTD. Mm-hmm. And in that meeting, a DOTD representative literally said with his mouth, I quote, "I would remove all bike lanes if I had my way." So for someone that works with DOTD, expressing that type of message that says I would remove bike lanes if I had my way. For a DOT representative to say that, all of them who hear this and not speaking up against it, that work in that same department, are complacent, because at this point, then I question all the things they're trying to implement for pedestrian infrastructure. So when he made that comment, I asked him why. He said because he don't feel that it's necessary. When it shouldn't be about what he feel. It should be about facts and following the data, and not about feelings. And the fact is, pedestrians are dying because of inadequate pedestrian infrastructure. So more conversation around this I-49 connector and how it will impact pedestrians need to be discussed, because in addition to what I asked them, how will the pedestrians be affected? Because they were trying to implement roundabouts at the intersection of Willow, and I asked them what measures are being taken for the safety of pedestrians. And the conversation got quiet, and they said, oh, there's going to be sidewalks. And I'm like, well, that's not enough, because if you go in Cairn Crew and you see their roundabout they have near the Super One, you'll see it's mayhem, and it's not safe for pedestrians to cross. Right. And unfortunately, if you look at the reports, yes, the roundabouts will, in theory, help slow down driver speed. However, it doesn't necessarily give pedestrians the right of way. There is Hawk systems. There are other things they can implement at these roundabouts. I asked them about it, and they said as of right now, no, there's nothing. So that's why I am not in favor of the roundabouts, because of how it will impact pedestrians. And the signalized intersections, which are the ones with the lights, they're called signalized intersections, they give pedestrians more right away, because now they get to get an actual allotted amount of time to cross. Even though in some areas, like we mentioned, are not sufficient, I favor signalized intersections because of pedestrian measures that can be implemented. But for the roundabouts, he also said, the DOT representative stated, it's cost effective. Over the long term, having a roundabout saves the city money. So they're looking at it for a money standpoint, and they're using the excuse that, oh, the driver's speed is going to be reduced, so there will be less fatal accidents. But they didn't look at pedestrian infrastructure. Wasn't really part of the conversation. It was more of an afterthought. So I am not in favor overall, though, of the I-49 connector. I'm not in favor of it because of the blatant disregard of pedestrians.
And I want to imply this, if you will, the I-49 connector, once it goes up, believe me, once it goes up, we think the 70501 zip code is getting neglected now. Once the I-49 connector goes up, the 70501 zip code is going to be neglected even more, because the people they feel is important to the parish and city won't have to pass through.
Also, Keith, look what happened in Baton Rouge, the north side of Baton Rouge, how they split the city, and they split the black neighborhood in Baton Rouge years ago. And that caused a whole lot of issues, and it still got continuing issues. So we wonder how that could come about, with the I-49 connector.
Exactly. And then look at the Claiborne in New Orleans. That's the same thing that happened there. And they have problems because it will divide the community. And not only that, some of these properties will depreciate in value. And already, I feel like that is the definition of redlining. Some of these properties near Evangeline Thruway, I say this, I don't care who agrees with me or not. I believe the Walmart shutting down on Evangeline Thruway was methodical. I feel like they were aware of the project that was underway, and I personally believe all these stores that were shutting down near Evangeline Thruway, I don't think it was by accident. You have franchises like Taco Bell shut down. I don't believe that was by accident. Then what happened? Wendy's shut down. I believe that was by accident because if you look anywhere in Lafayette, there are some fast food stores or chains or franchise. If you look at them, some of them you would think, oh my God, they're not performing well, but they're still open though. And isn't it odd that you have such a close proximity of franchises that are shutting down on one strip of road? You cannot tell me that they were not aware of that pending project of the I-49 connector. I believe they were aware, and I believe that's why those stores are not open anymore. And then you look at how the property value along Evangeline Thruway is being evaluated. I'm telling you, I know this from my core that these properties were undervalued because they know once you have an appraiser, depending on who is the appraiser, if that state is doing an appraising, they know they'll have to buy out these property owners sooner or later. So to save them money, they'll start undervaluing these properties because they don't want to have to pay out a lot of money. So they're not going to pay these homeowners what their property is truly worth because at the end of the day, they know this project is already going to cost them money. So they're looking to save them. And I will stress this enough. I hope other community leaders truly open their eyes and see this I-49 connector would not help the community because you can drive to Lake Charles. Look at all the cities that are along I-10. Some of them are dilapidated. You would think they would be thriving because they're near interstate, but they're not thriving. The highway is over some of these houses, and you can look down when you get closer to Lake Charles area. You can look down and see the neighborhood is not thriving. And so I don't want people to think the I-49 connector would make the north side thrive again. No, I believe it would be the other way. It would make a divide, further the divide that's already there. And then it would be more of a way for people to just bypass the north side and not look at it and have to deal with it. And so I don't believe this I-49 connector will help. And I also believe more people need to speak up against it because, one, we can't afford it. And I don't want to divert the conversation, but I kind of want to make a little joke. If you look at Evangeline Thruway right now, there is potholes on that thruway that are probably older than my kids. And if you can't maintain the road now, what makes you think or why or how I'm supposed to think y'all can maintain an entire Evangeline Thruway connector project? And once that bridge, that bypass is built, can someone please convince me they'll have the funding to maintain it? Because y'all can't maintain Evangeline Thruway now. So, what you think, Mr. Wallace?
Anybody else got any?
They maintaining the south side of where towards Ambassador and all through Youngville though. They find money for that right there.
Yes.
Well,
Exactly.
they can maintain Moss Street. And Moss Street, I hate to go down it, because everything rattles on my truck.
And I'll tell you this, that I-49 connector project is not something that was just thought about. It's been in the making.
Mm-hmm.
And they've been setting up the south side of Lafayette Parish for that project.
You mean the north?
They've been setting it up.
Yeah.
Moving, having businesses that was on the north side, moving them on the south side.
Mm-hmm.
With the Acadiana Mall, all the infrastructure they improve around there.
True.
The Northgate Mall, the economics not the same.
Mm-hmm.
The infrastructure is not.
And Brother Keith, look like that's a major corridor for the all field businesses and all the businesses going towards Morgan City and the other way to New Orleans, right? You would put the emphasis on making a route, which the route was supposed to go through St. Martin Parish and all around the airport. And why wouldn't you invest in that since that's a major thoroughfare, a fast growing area? you know?
Yeah.
And before we go back to it, I want to
Wait, before,
we lost.
Yeah.
Call
back,
we lost. But served on the charter commission told me that not be here anymore. Sound like
yeah.
Good morning, guys.
good morning.
Good show.
Good morning.
You mentioned Moss. I had to they put the on the road instead of gas. For the concrete even. What they did there, the blacktop, nice concrete, they break it up a little bit of concrete and put asphalt on it. That's why I call it a Band-Aid. Because next week, because it's supposed to rain tomorrow, it's going to be right back loop-de-loop. It's like you're on a roller coaster. About the two-way cross, I think, and I forgot other places, they have like a overpass walkway over the highways, interstate. I wonder if somebody ever thought about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have thought about it, but the thing of it is, they're not doing nothing about it.
In Lafayette, the city of South should have more overpasses for traffic to cross over the railroad tracks all through the city. It should have more
Camera, just exit. But I don't know if these guys, oh, they call them engineers. I don't know where I think they get just put a snake when they repair whenever the snake moves.
On what I've been trying to Evangeline Thruway, all to the airport from I-10. I believe if they've tried to increase the speed of traffic without disrupting the Willow Street, going over Evangeline Thruway, that would be way cheaper than what they're trying to do. And two, it would allow pedestrians, they would just have to make it wider to have a pedestrian lane on both sides. A protected lane, they have this a lot in Texas, where the it's almost doubles like a can pass and pedestrians can pass. They're stuck in the old days, and I want to say this. For over 20 years, they've been talking about this. To me, it's almost like an for so long, they're trying to prove a point. Like, oh, we're out.
Well, you know, as far as I'm concerned about the throughway, all they have to do is put turn lanes. If they could put turn lanes on both sides, you know, and allow the turn lane to take you where you're going and leave the traffic flow, totally different thing. but they don't put no turn lane. And now they putting J turns, you know, shutting down intersection and putting J turns. And way back in '96, when my brother and them used to take me fishing, we would be going down the thruway, and we had to come to a stop for somebody to make a turn. Why they just didn't put turn lanes there, you know? And the traffic would have kept flowing. But like you say, they must have some awfully smart professors to teach them how to be dumb.
And then,
I'll tell you what happened long in the 70s. When they built the thruway, all the overpass stopped on Willow because the Sunday Mouton, at the time the Northgate Mall, people was going to pass the Northgate Mall up. They wasn't going to exit. They was going to keep on straight. So it was to bring people to the Northgate Mall at the time before they built the Acadiana Mall. Okay, then they was going to do an overpass again. Market again, so that's why we don't have it. We got to y'all keep up the good work. Nice seeing you, Q, again.
I've been reading a book called, and the book is written and how the entire system has changed over the years. And one of the things the engineer mentioned is the way these roads are designed. And he's specifically going into detail about they tend to have when they are implementing these guidelines for these engineers. So I want people to realize these engineers are doing, depending on where they're getting their guidance from, it could be outdated practices they're still going by. And then majority of the practices the engineers use is all geared towards motorists, people in vehicles, not really geared to pedestrians such as people walking or bicycling. And the engineer said most of the stuff for pedestrians are basically an afterthought. So it's like, let's make it safe for drivers. Let's do this, make it more comfortable. And people need to understand there's a rating process. They rate each roadway. And basically, the faster people travel on a road without stopping is the better. So cars have to stop a lot on a roadway and travel rating is lower. When the engineer's saying that should not be the case, because when you have faster speeds, then it makes it less safe for pedestrians to cross. Have more accidents. Need to be demolished, basically, and they need to truly look at pedestrians. So when you look at these engineer, it's not really geared for pedestrians.
and also let me imply something. If you look at in government, the most spent money and the most money making business is your infrastructure, your undeveloped property, and the engineers, it's not designed for the people. It's designed to do what they needed to do, and then also gonna put some money back in the pockets of the officials.
Yeah.
I totally agree. I believe they're all connected, and they look at the bottom dollar. Honestly speaking, it's all about the money, and so they know how they get the most return on their money, and so that's why if you look, and even though they when the people in the underserved communities, they walk because they have to get to point A and point B, to go to work, and get medicine, go get groceries. So they look at those communities and be like, they don't really have a good economy to begin with. We don't need to put better sidewalks. That's really the bias that people don't really speak on. It's
Right.
almost certain communities. You all, and I know you know
Rika.
the communities I'm talking about. You go there, Western End are good. Their sidewalks look spick and
Yeah.
span.
I appreciate you.
How can we get in contact with her organization to show support for what she's doing? If she has a contact?
Yeah, just contact information on, if someone needs some information on how to get involved in, pedestrian safety.
Oh, they can follow me on Facebook. It's called Pop Lafayette, POP Lafayette on Facebook. And they can my phone at any time if they have any questions. You can either call 337-806-5 if you have any questions.
Okay. Well, you know this show gonna re-air. I can't tell you what date or anything like this here, but it's gonna re-air. Most probably the weekend or something like this here. So a lot of the information that you just gave, y'all be ready to write down our information. But coming on and explain what's going on in the city of Lafayette, you know, and what needs to be done as far as pedestrian and stuff like this here. So you have a safe, blessed weekend, you know, and we appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Well, folks, y'all heard Marika Ross, you know, what be happening. She have a lot of concern to be done in Lafayette. And I appreciate her giving us the information that she did.
Yeah, and we want to thank you for letting us come into your hearts, your eyes, your ears, and talking about safety, pedestrian safety, trying to get some tips out there, let people know what's going on. We thank you for tuning in.
And Louisiana legislative body, take a page from them young brothers out there in Tennessee.
Yeah. So, you know, we appreciate you. You know, love you guys. We'll be back next Friday, 10 o'clock. Don't forget to turn it in to Community Tech Show, you know, on 88.3 with Brother Jay and Brother Keith. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.